How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Trainer Revenue Multiplier podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jaime Filer, and this week I have the honor and privilege of being joined by Isaac Miller to do another Coach's Corner. How are you, Isaac?
I am stoked, Jaime. I'm really excited to be here and excited to dive into Coach's Corner. This is like one of my favorite things to do every month because we get to just dive into some awesomeness that we get to experience and help facilitate within our own clients here at TRM.
We essentially get to show exactly what we do, right?
So much value.
Amazing. So I have a great, these are gold people that we'll be talking about today, and I'm pretty stoked. It's a couple, which brings about its own challenges as well. So
yep.
I'm ready. Grill me, sir.
No, I'm stoked too. And I like that you bring up that it's a couple, because I've noticed a lot of the TRM people, they are married or have a significant other. And it's something that, us being kind of like this family environment already, like everyone in TRM, we collaborate, we are like a family environment, we work together. Something that I always remind the couples on here is like, how are you utilizing your partner? Are you letting them in this process to help you? And so to actually have a couple who are in this fully together, and to dive into that, it's super exciting. I think it can bring a lot of benefit to others who have a partner that's a co-coach with them, or even a partner that wants to support them, but the coach themselves don't quite know what that would look like. So I'm excited to dive in to put some framework to this.
Yeah.
Where was this couple at before joining TRM with their business? And then when did they decide to join TRM? How long have we been working with them?
We've been working with them about a month officially. And they were at, I'm going to say, between 6 and 8K in their business. It was pretty variable. It was variable enough to the point where they'd get worried. They'd cut back on doing stuff, going out, scarcity mindset. So I think what put them over the edge was just realizing how much of their life, I don't want to say they were missing out on, because that's unfair. Like, just because you're not spending money doesn't mean you're missing out, but like not having the freedom to like $50 concert tickets here, going out for an extra coffee another day a week there, like those kinds of things that we might take for granted are really luxuries.
100%. Like money doesn't buy happiness, but it can buy opportunities. And those opportunities you can turn into something that creates happy memories and happy environments. So I think that's a very powerful way of looking at it. And, we haven't been working with them long. So to go into still like their past state, that kind of fluctuation between, okay months, good months, bad months. What do you think was the main driver of that, like those fluctuations?
I would say not knowing where to put their focus, or not even knowing what opportunities there are out there, or knowing there are opportunities, but not knowing how to use them. You know what I mean? Like, I would say, Isaac, it was a combination of just not having the education, not having systems in place, and a general lack of direction for what to do when the opportunities presented themselves.
I love that.
Yeah.
And just curious, because for my own, personal experience as a coach and then coaching people in TRM, sometimes the not knowing opportunities, it can then lead towards feeling like there's a bunch of opportunities and not having the focus to actually pick the right one and stick with it. Did you notice any of that as well?
It's hard to say because we didn't dive into exactly, sometimes when you coach someone on the fitness side, you'll say, what have you tried in the past? And they'll say, I tried the keto diet and I tried, Julian Smith's daily pump or whatever, but you don't say, okay, break it down Monday to Friday for me, exactly what your workout looked like. So I can't speak specifically on what they were doing, but I know that it wasn't consistent and it wasn't particularly lucrative.
Perfect. Okay. So then going into their first official month in TRM, they hit a solid 10K.
Crazy.
How long has it been since they've had a month like that?
It's been a minute. I believe I'm going to say about a year and a half. Yeah,
All right.
in a while. So they have been there, but not consistently when they were there before. And this time around, it was also, they noted less effort. They weren't scrambling. It came a little bit easier to them.
I hear that. And we have so much data now to support once a trainer in TRM hits 10K and they stay in TRM, 10Ks become way more consistent and then turn to 20s and then to 30s. And as you know yourself, even 50s and higher. So I think that's amazing. Now, what was the first kind of plan of action that you took when they did join TRM and make this commitment? Because that's a pretty awesome increase that you saw in just the first month. So what did that look like as far as like the plan of attack for them?
Yeah. So we treated them just like we would any other client. So Mathew comes in right off the bat. His first call with all of our TRM people is, let's set up your packages. And I don't care what your prices are, we're increasing them. That's just what he comes in and does. He says, we'll work on the mindset later. We'll get to that module. But in the meantime, everyone is now going to be this new price. So there might be a letter that goes out to clients. We might need to hop on calls with them to let them know about the price increase. But either way, one package for everybody and then one new price for everybody.
That was so this really is simplifying.
Totally.
And raising because when you simplify too, do you think that there's a level of client experience that enhances whenever we actually simplify the way we conduct our business?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I would say that is both for the front end when you're bringing a new client in, but also the back end when you're renewing a client, right? I think the easiest thing to do is once they finish their initial 3 or 6 months, say, great, are we doing another 6 months or 1 year? Simple, right? They don't have to think about month to month. So not only does it, again, enhance the client experience, it creates an amount of security for you as well. But, the more I think about it, going back to what you said, client security. I did 3 months, saw progress. I wonder what 6 could do. So you lock them in for 6. And that's the back end offer. So easy. They're bought in. Everyone's making the investment here. You're good to go.
I love it. Now, when it came from, Mathew coming in and saying like, all right, let's really simplify. Let's figure out your packages. Let's raise your rates. Let's raise your price. Oftentimes there's a level of resistance, internal resistance that happens when we decide to maybe cut some things out of our business that don't need to be there, but we made them because we feel they should be there. Yeah. And then also when it comes to raising our rates, there's this internal pressure and this maybe imposter syndrome that happens with feeling like, who's going to pay that much? All my clients are going to leave because they're not going to want to pay more, like all this and that and the other. So what was did they have any of that resistance when you finally got on there after these little immediate kind of changes were starting to be put in place?
Yeah, great question. So this couple was a very much almost like let go and let God. So the initial struggle that you're referring to, that was joining TRM and making the investment in the first place. But they were those people, they were those coaches that as soon as they made the investment, it's whatever we say goes. Same with, right? A lot of fitness clients. The only resistance you have to overcome is on the sales call. As soon as you get them, they're smooth sailing. They're your best people. You don't have to chase them for check-ins. They're ultra compliant. And then there are those who might agree early on, but show up with resistance on each check-in, just can't get their sleep hygiene under control, this and that, always making excuses. They are the former, not the latter.
Perfect. That is exciting. And it shows why they, saw an immediate 10K month, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, before we get into the tactical, I would like to ask, when it comes to the speed of action, because in business, it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
But oftentimes there is still a level of fast, of time to action that allows success. So when these implementations were made, or you made a coaching, call with them, and you decided like, hey, I feel like, these should be our next plans of action.
Yeah.
How fast did you notice they implemented?
Yeah. So this is where that couple dynamic comes in, Isaac, because for every yin, there's a yang, right? So one of them is the executor. One of them is, listen, as soon as it's coming out of your mouth, it's going into my to-do list. And then I've created a slot in my day tomorrow in order to get this done. The other is like, when the spirit moves me, I will make this happen. So it's funny because we were on our coaching call yesterday, and I itemize all of the homework in between the 2 weeks. And I said, guys, I'm giving you like for the action item, half of it is red and half of it is green, because one of you got it done and one of you didn't. Now, this also speaks to a healthy dynamic, because you cannot be rigid and purely execution driven, because I will give credit to the one that didn't do her homework. She's the social media genius. She's the one constantly coming up with the inspiration, the education, and the entertainment that you see on their Instagram page, because it just flows out of that creativity, flows out of her. Problem is, there are certain times we need to rein it in. So they balance each other out really well. But long answer to your question, speed of execution is split 50-50.
No, that's great though. And I love it because I know that they're going to listen to this and laugh too. Whenever you say that, they're going to crack up. But there's a positive and negative pull to everything. Everything. There's not anything that's completely 100% positive all the time. I'm going to optimize my sleep and get 9 hours, but then like you sacrifice maybe tucking your kids into bed, or, taking care of some of the stuff around the house. So now your spouse has to take care of it, right? There's always going to be a push pull. So, having that at least action forward is better than what a lot of people do. A lot of people see all this and then it's paralysis by analysis and then get zero progress forward. So having that 50% jump forward or 60% jump forward is still something that's going to take and cause an exponential growth in the long run. Now let's get into the tactical. What were some of these tactical things that you had them do in order to see their first 10K month?
Easy. This goes back to that easy, effortless, basic. Create a database. Dump everything and everyone that's in your head and on your phone into a Google Sheet and mark it current, past, prospect, colleague, potential, friend, whatever. Category number 4, miscellaneous. And that was it. And they both, went through their phone thoroughly, full name, email, phone number, whatever information they had stored at the time. For some people, they had an email, no phone number. For others, phone number, no email. Just get it out on paper. Because the other thing is, as soon as you see how many people you've been working with over the course of your business, you're like, oh my God, forget Facebook ads. I literally just need to message Jenny and so-and-so and so-and-so, and I could have $3,600.
Love that.
Yeah.
How did you coach them to take action on the database? Because I know that's a huge question that I get from people who aren't in TRM, but here, on social media, we talk about the database a lot, and a lot of other business gurus per se, throw that term around. How did you have them take action on it?
So I will give credit to TRM and what Mathew has built. It was a collaborative effort because they also bought into the engine. They immediately, within their first month, they had 2 calls with Laurent and they were set up. So it wasn't just me saying, dump your database out of your head and onto paper. It was Laurent saying, great, do you have the database ready for me so I can teach you about tags and workflows and funnels and sites? So it was like they didn't really have an option to execute because Laurent has all of these tools at his disposal, like these reactivation campaigns that just make it so easy for them to, hit a button and a week's worth of text messages to old clients.
Perfect. So with that database, they literally were able to put them into a software system.
Yep.
And then send some kind of email or text to pretty much all of them.
That's exactly what they did. Yep.
Awesome. Now, was this like a text saying, hey, this is coach, so-and-so, it's time to get back into fitness, come message me for a consult? Or was it something maybe a little different?
Isaac, what a lob. What a softball you just threw at me, sir. No, it wasn't a call to action. It was, hey, so-and-so, it's been a minute since we've been in touch. I'm so sorry. Like, that's on me. Life's been crazy. I would love to catch up, though. I want to hear how you're doing. How's the family? How's work? How's life?
I love that.
Yeah.
And what does that kind of reactivation text or email elicit? Like, what is the point of doing something like that instead of just a hard call to action right off the bat?
Couple things. Number one, it lets them know that you are relational rather than transactional, right? Because if I just said, hey, I'm launching the inner outer strength version 2.0, you want in, they'd be like, again, if we go back to relationships, not necessarily your first question on a first date is, let's go back to my place. It's, hey, where are you from? What do you do for work, right? We warm them up with questions. So showing them that you really care about them as individuals reminds them of how you treated them the first time, that you're an amazing coach because you're a great human.
Love that. That's perfect. Now, from that database, how much growth did they see? Like, did they get a positive response back from activating that database?
Oh yeah. So I believe that the big one, like what tipped them over, was that 2 clients paid in full who were renewals because they started offering the paid in full, like save 10%. And 1 old client said, oh my gosh, you've been on my mind. I got fat. Go. And then she paid in full.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. That is awesome. And there's so much left on that database to take advantage of too, which shows that future months, you can tap into that same resource. And so with the database, is this and again, I'm talking from experience of not only myself, but other coaches that I've worked with. Oh, Jamie, I've already gone through my database and I didn't really get much response back. That's it.
Right. Cool. Thanks so much for your time. Right. Great. We now kind of, I don't want to say leapfrog, but I can't find the term in my mind right now. But okay. So let's say I come to you, Isaac. You were an old client. Isaac, how's it going? Great. Jamie, cool. Hop on a call. I'm good. No thanks. I'm working with Jace. Great. Isaac, I'm just curious. Do you know anyone who might be a good fit for my program, having been through it yourself? So again, you and I, we left on good terms. We're great. You're happy with Jace, but come on, you've got to know people, especially knowing how well I've helped you, that would be a good fit for my program. So you don't just use your database as the individual, you use it for the network that the individual has.
Love that. And then with the database too, because you're a genius when it comes to nurturing the database. So I want to stick on this for a little bit longer. Say, you reach out to me, sorry, I'm working with Jace, whatever. And it's like, cool, no worries. Do you by chance know of anybody? I don't at the moment, but I'll think about it and I'll let you know. Cool. Oh, at that point, most people that I've worked with are like, all right, cool, delete them from the database.
Yeah.
How do you keep them and keep nurturing them? Because you and I both know the amount of clients that leave to go work with someone else and then come back later on. So how do you go about keeping that nurturing process in place? What do you ask them to keep them there?
Yeah. So what I would do is, depending on whether you have the engine or not, because we obviously don't want to exclude people, I would open my phone calendar and I would text you and say, hey, Isaac, is it cool if I message you in it's May 2nd? Can I follow up kind of midsummer to see how things are going with Jace? Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Set a note in my calendar. Isaac Miller, June 15th, ask about Jace. Or I go to the engine, I put them in the long-term follow-up sequence, which I've already set, and they essentially get the same kind of message I sent the first time in 45, 60, or 90 days.
Perfect. I love that. And one thing that, I utilize with that long-term follow-up, and I'm sure you do too, is the email newsletter.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you feel like that is a good way to keep someone nurtured that might not be like, oh, now's not a great time, but to stay top of mind?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great resource for your database, for your prospects, for your current clients to get added value. There's email newsletter should 100% be a social media tool you prioritize.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, now to get back into the tactical side of things.
Yeah.
So they reacted their database. They got a good response back from that. But you also talked about now that they're doing this, paid in full option. And so you kind of alluded to this at the beginning of the call, talking about like it's easy having these systems in place where it's someone's renewing and it's like, cool, how about 6 months paid in full? But when it comes to actually keeping them primed for that resale or renewal, is there anything that you teach them to kind of go into that renewal call?
Right. So in terms of setting up automations, we have it so that typically at the 10-week mark, whether you're selling a 3-month or a 6-month, you always want to be checking in. So I don't think they have this yet, but in TRM Gold, we do talk about a feedback survey that goes out around the 4-week mark and then hop on a call around the 10-week mark. And then if they don't want to renew at 12 weeks, that's totally fine. That's their prerogative. They did their contract. They're good. We definitely send them an exit interview survey to know what to do better next time. Or we have that resell call and then they continue for another 6 months with the regular touch points they were doing anyway.
I love that. And this actually is a good segue into kind of the last bit that I want to get in with you is, what are their next steps to keep the 10K months going or to even grow to 15, 20, 25K?
Yeah, a lot of collaborations. These girls are very personable. They're very charming. They're very charismatic. They're very bubbly. So what we're doing is leveraging chiropractors' offices, PT offices, functional nutritionists, and offering master classes and seminars and collaborations.
Love that. And what is the best takeaway in terms of taking action on collaborations? So instead of them just saying, all right, I asked the chiropractor to promote me, what do you give them as like here's how to actually incorporate a strategic partnership?
Yeah. So we created a flyer that had a QR code to sign up for a masterclass for them on metabolism. And I believe it was metabolism and mental health. It could just be metabolism though. So it's, hey, chiropractor's office, your people will get a service you don't offer, but complements what you're offering. So it will make it seem like what you're doing is like on steroids. So always try to fill the gaps, right? Chiropractors, not all of them deal with nutrition. Great. You're filling the gap of the client.
I love that. That's awesome. So to kind of recap, they had gone like a year and a half of seeing a lot of fluctuating, income. They decide to go all in with TRM. They already make that mindset switch and they're ready to take action. So they come in, they immediately, redo the structure of their packages, raise their rates, and then you have them make their database. Laurent helps them implement it into the engine and they start nurturing that database. They end up being able to get 2 people on renewals for 6 months paid in full, which is awesome. And they get an old client back through that database to also pay a paid in full option. And now they're going to be implementing things within their systems, as well as being able to start using these strategic partnerships to gain more traction and brand awareness and clientele.
You pretty much just summed up 24 minutes of podcast in 40 seconds, Isaac. Well done.
I just wanted to, because saying it like that, and I don't want to take away from, there's so much freedom in being able to build up the right systems, the right partnerships, and to have the right mentors.
I told you it was effortless for them. Like 28 days, Isaac. Like, and what you described, like, guys, you're welcome. You don't even have to buy TRM. Like, Mathew should take me away from Isaac and I, because you could just start there and you'd be at 10K.
100%. And that's why this podcast is so much value, because not only the guests that we bring onto the podcast, you know, throughout the weeks that bring in so much valuable insight, but then, you know, the coach's corner, specifically, we dive into literally what our processes are. Yep. You get a look inside of what our gold calls, our mastermind calls, like all of our platinum calls. This is the process that we teach, and it works because we're talking you through how we do it to make it work. So if you're listening to this and you're not in TRM, go try it out, because I guarantee after you do and you see some immediate growth, you're going to be thinking, man, what else are they talking about on these calls?
Amen. Amen, brother. Thank you so much. Such an incredible interview. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Jaime.
Guys, if you like what you heard, please make sure you rate, share, subscribe, follow us on social media. Isaac, where can you be found?
Yeah, so you can find my personal social media is at The Prolific Professor on Instagram, or you can always email me if you have questions about TRM or what I do in TRM. You can always email me at isaac@trainerrevenuemultiplier.com, and I would love to answer any questions you have.
Amazing. We are at Trainer Revenue Multiplier. I am at JAIM and the number 91. We appreciate you guys. Have the best rest of your day. Until next episode. you.